faculty involvement is pretty important, if nothing else for the simple reason that they'll be here. You know, it's like, in the sense that a lot of us won't be here after the end of the year, or like we'll only be here for 2 years, or only be here for 3 years. I think as much faculty involvement is great because there's a little more, you know, historical knowledge there.
It's not the AVI?
It's related because their union has offered a healthcare plan to all the faculty and staff here. So the union right now is proposing to get Sarah Lawrence College to accept the healthcare plan that the union has. The union proposed that to Sarah Lawrence College, to the administration, Michael Rangers in particular, rejected the proposal without giving us any information why he rejected it. So right now we're just passing out leaflets to faculty to take in their own hands to ask why they rejected, you know, a healthcare plan that's half the price of what they currently offer.
I'm
good. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
Mary Thanks.
I think it's been very successful. I think the most important thing is to get it into everybody's hands, and then, you know, that's it. Hello, how are you today? Thank you. Yeah, they're trying to cut this. That's why we're here. I don't know what else Okay. Not to mention I miss him.
When it comes to the issue of healthcare, I think the clear, fair, and just thing to do is to make sure that all of these people have adequate healthcare. I think, unfortunately, we're in a situation where doing the just thing may have implications for the college that are really difficult implications, and may in fact result in some things we really don't like other staff being let go. Having said that, then I think you can see why some faculty at least are a little bit more ambivalent about exactly how we should intervene.
Thanks, Vera.
Yeah, this is one of my students was telling me about.
I think that it's important that pressure be brought to bear on AVI for them to negotiate a fair contract for these workers.
Last week, we met, we being Steve Easton and I, to draft a letter to the administration about the possibility of releasing the contract that the administration has with AVI in order to aid the union negotiations. I don't know whether you have anything to add.
Not particularly. I just can't overemphasize the importance for us, you know, in Student Senate and in the student body to fulfill our commitment to the community at large, you know, in pursuit of social justice, you know, within our own parameters. Like, if we can't make sure that our subcontracted employees are getting fair treatment, how can we hope to, you know, be an example for the world at large?
Is very new to this whole issue, hasn't heard a lot about it. Listening to this discussion there's a lot of not misinformation, but there's a lot of contradictory information coming out, and then hearing people say the students are given favorable treatment, then I'm hearing someone else say they're being verbally abused. I'm hearing they're being paid more, I'm hearing they're being paid the same. I'm hearing the workers in general are abused, and I haven't heard a single person say how. So I agree with Tom, you know, maybe at some point we involve the press, maybe at some point we involve the administration, but the bottom line is right now, this just sounds like a bunch of accusations.
When you're in union negotiations or you're in the midst of a struggle like this, workplace conditions are constantly changing. Workers are constantly moved from Bates to the pub to the Atrium Cafe. Their wages are changing, their job descriptions are changing. So it's a very fluid thing, and in that respect, it's hard to keep like the perfect information. I think it's extremely important to get all of the concrete information we have that we can, and we do have some. You know, I'm not going to say specifics here right now because I haven't gotten permission from any of the workers, and I think that's another thing we have to keep in mind. It's really hard for a lot of these workers to come out with these like stories. You know, 13 workers got, you know, fired over the summer through this transition. People are being abused, and it's hard to come out when you're being abused.
Because of a lack of communication, you cannot expect those workers to just up and leave their job. I mean, they'll think they're going to get fired.
Specific demands? Like, is there like something specific that this walkout is about?
Like
or
a
is
platform
it like
for the
the
negotiations.
negotiations in general, we'd like them to go better?
Yet again.
We
No
want
one's
to
fucking
leave.
planned this thing.
Maybe
Great.
that could go in
Just
the
check
email
it.
too.
Yeah,
We'd
I
like to
think
know
that's
like
good.
if there's specific demands.
I just find that
Yeah.
those statements are more powerful if you can have, you know, whatever your like short general statement, but you have like bullet point demands.
Yeah.
I mean,
You know,
especially
saying
if we're
we're
going
like
to Westlands, it's
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
like,
you know,
yeah, we're unhappy about the general situation. They know that already.
I think, like, given the administration's response so far, it's going to be pretty hard for us to push and say, like, we demand this as students. I think it might be best to just pledge our support for the workers and whatever demands they have. If the walkout goes bad, like, it was like, would that be, I mean, obviously that'd be like a really big setback. Like, you know, like, I mean, I don't know if there's a possibility of like pushing back, you know, like the walkout. It's gonna be terrible. Like, if only like 8 workers, just like.
well. Not only is it terrible, but it's just like it's like a public display of the issues with getting everybody together.
Yeah.
Like it's like it can be really dividing. Like I've seen and been at walkouts that have failed, and it can like derail stuff in like a certain way because people then feel divided. So
we want to make sure that's a talking point that we have in this
Yeah.
meeting.
So-
is that we're really afraid that if this doesn't go over well, it's going to be a display of our weakness rather than our power.
Hopefully
I
it's
know.
just that we don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's
That
like
could
a
be.
real possibility that it's much more planned and like the communication part hasn't happened.
I think that as students, whether we say it or write it down, I think a really important thing to put forward is that we're just like behind the workers.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that makes the most sense at this point because clearly as a group, even in this room, we're not really sure what else we're behind, but we're definitely behind that.
No peace! No justice! No peace! No contracts! No peace! No healthcare! No peace! No standards! No peace! No wages! No peace! No raises! No peace! No contract! No peace! What do we want? Contracts! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Contracts! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Contracts! When do we want it? Now! What do we want? Contracts! When do we want it? Now!
Para los que hablan español, vamos a parar un instante de trabajar porque necesitamos la aseguranza full cover y el aumento. Es por eso que vamos a parar. Y todos vamos a marchar para el base.
We're stopping today because we need our medical insurance, which ABI says they can't afford, right? And a fair wage. So from here, we're going to march to base. What do we want? Contracts! When do we want it? Now! What do we want?
No
Contracts!
peace!
No justice!
No
No
peace!
justice!
No peace!
No contract!
No peace!
No healthcare!
No peace!
No contract!
No peace!
No healthcare!
No peace!
No raises!
No peace!
What do we want?
Contracts!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Contracts!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Contracts!
When do we want it?
Now!
What do we want?
Contracts!
When do we want it?
Now!
No contract!
No peace!
No contract!
No peace!
No contract!
No peace!
What do we want?
Contracts!
When do we want it?
Now!
ABI tells us at the negotiating table we can't give any more. They've just been moving things around. We cannot afford the insurance, we cannot afford a decent wage, and we cannot afford a pension for the workers here because the college says that they can't help us anymore. And we went to them and we asked and they said no, there's a budget crisis. And we go to the administration, the students have gone and asked and the college says, well, ABI needs to negotiate, they're separate, right? But there's something between them and the contract that we haven't been able to see that ties them together. And I graduated from here in 2003, and so this college means a lot to me, and I've seen the numbers, and I think that we can save the college a lot of money and get coverage, medical